Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
And a lot coming up in sports. In about 5 minutes, we'll play Third Eye Blind before we get there. But yeah, the Senior Assassins game is causing havoc in some of the burbs. Specifically, Glen Ellen, Glencoe, and there was another one where it seems to be out of control. Oh, Northfield up there. So the North Burbs. And because social media says, hey, go out and do this stuff and share the targets, if you will. So I didn't know what this was. Kay said he grew up with this. So that means, going back a ways, because you're not a young man anymore. You're 26 now.
We can unpack that another time. Leave it alone for now. More Senior Assassins is the focus, not my age.
Yeah, and Kenzie didn't know what this was either, but it's a game played by high school seniors where the participants try to eliminate each other by squirting them with water guns, and there's a prize pool for the winner, and then they have targets they have to eliminate to get there. Is that describing it good enough case?
Yes. As a senior in high school, you are assigned a person to assassinate, for lack of a better term, and your job is to hunt that person down and stay alive and not get assassinated with a water gun.
In fairness, I was pretty left out in high school, so this may have been happening.
I would like to point out, as was I did not participate. I only knew about it because I was a student journalist, and I had to cover the story.
Oh, weird.
Well, it's the only one that was popular here in high school. I don't remember this game. And no one was squirting me with a water gun in fear of repercussions that I might throw them in a locker, knock their lunch tray out of their hands.
Kenzie, now I wish you had a soundboard.
I wanted a soundboard. I'll just make my own sound. It's fine.
With my D1 capability in basketball getting shuttered from,
I'm going to voice fry at the end of this.
So the Glen Ellen Police Department said this is not illegal, but they're strongly encouraging parents to talk to their children about the dangers of carrying a squirt gun or Nerf guns that resemble real firearms. And then they could actually get shot by someone that has a real gun defending themselves, standing their ground, if you will. But
that is a good point.
It sucks.
I imagine it being dangerous because, kids would do stupid stuff like recklessly drive because they're trying to get away from an assassin or whatever. Also, that's a good point that somebody else may actually shoot you because they think it's a real gun.
Well, people are on edge today. Everybody is just one step away from being Michael Douglas and falling down, and that might do it. That might just push one person over the edge, sadly, and do something stupid. Now, to your point, Kenzie, in Gurnee, a senior is wearing ski masks doing this game, walked into a restaurant while playing.
Oh, my God. You can't figure out why that would be bad.
It's a bad idea.
These are seniors.
Kids are so funny. I'm sorry. I miss the unabashed confidence that I walked around with as a 17 and 18-year-old being like, I'm awesome. Everything's fine. Everybody will understand this game. I have nothing to worry about. That goes away, I think, the second you leave high school. But what a rich feeling that is.
For me, it took till 26 or 7 that feeling to go away.
Okay, I lost it at 18.
Yeah,
nice to know.
But the point on this one, how scary this is they walked into the restaurant. A concealed carry license holder was in the restaurant at the time and mistook it for a genuine threat.
Obviously, somebody walked in with a ski mask and what looked like a gun.
Yeah. And those Nerf and water guns, they look real.
Because I'm sure that they probably painted it black because that'd be funny. And they're like, oh, this is going to really get them.
Nobody was injured in that situation in Gurnee, but police warned, hey, that could have escalated poorly. Yeah, it could have.
I mean, imagine if you were out with your family eating and that you'd be terrified. All I can think about is all the tragedies that have happened at movie theaters, right? And somebody being like, oh, he's at the movie theater, let's go get him. And what that would do to people, like the trauma you would experience from thinking that was happening.
It is too bad because unabashed fun, as Case was describing, under 18, you should be able to do something like this. But now, and I'm not like, oh, now the world's different because if you did this 15 years ago, it wouldn't happen. I think that's actually right. I think if you did this 15 years ago, nobody would have shot you with a concealed carry. But now I think people are ready to do that, sadly.
So, Kenzie, maybe you know this, but Brian's on Twitter more than you, so I feel like maybe he's the person to ask. This will tie in. I'm getting all these tweets now of these videos. They look like they're movies, but I can't tell what they're from. And it'll be like a paranoid mom in a grocery store with her kid, and she thinks a guy's following them, and so she attacks the guy. It's all these hypothetical scenarios that look like they're from movies or TV, but I don't know what they're from. They seem like they're made only to stoke fear in people so that when they leave the house, they're ready to act like the person in the video. Do you know what I'm talking about? Are you seeing these?
I have an account on on not Twitter because I don't go on it. So
Yeah.
no accounts on there. But like on my TikTok that does this and Instagram, it's the same account. And what it does is it voices scenes from movies, which make it seem like the voice of like girl walks into a restaurant and sees like I have that, and it's like he's just voicing a movie. Like I've seen this movie.
Yeah, what Case is talking about is right, though. It's real. It's not voiceover stuff. It's actually a scene that looks like it's from a movie.
But it's not from anything. And I think they're just designed to make people more paranoid.
Well, because they seem real. And you're almost supposed to have seen it already. Like it's a viral video.
Yes.
Oh, you know what happens here. And then it's someone, like you just said, that scene of a woman being followed or thinks she's being followed and what the threat is. It's almost like you're in a real live a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah.
But it's all been really acted out already, and it's kind of terrifying. But then I feel
it's not a movie. It's not anything.
No, it's real. Or it looks real. It may not have been real, but it looks real. And also, I feel like an idiot then that I haven't seen all these viral videos. But I don't think they are viral. I think they have 10 million views. But they're saying, you know what happens next. I go, I actually don't know what happened next, so I'm going to watch this video. And then I go, oh, crap, I got sucked into some hate breed.
And then, good man. And then you watch that video, and then when you leave the house next time and you see one thing that might look off, then you think, oh, maybe somebody's following me. Maybe I need to stand up to them. Yeah.
Not the stand up part, but especially if you're a woman, I think that you kind of always should have that little like, oh, if it seems like someone's following you, just go with they are.
Yeah, they are.
Just go like nobody. If you're getting a weird feeling, you shouldn't be like, I'm being paranoid. You should focus on it, okay? Because worst case scenario, like if you're wrong, fine. Well, you still didn't get abducted. Great, way to pay attention. Like it doesn't do any harm to like be like maybe something's happening here. Let me focus on it
And celebrate the win of not getting abducted. By the way,
amen. So don't ignore a feeling. Don't be like, I'm not gonna be paranoid in this world. Go ahead and be a little paranoid. You're out in public and you think something's weird. Go ahead and be a little paranoid. Don't attack somebody.
I'm
but
paranoid.
Pay attention.
So we're talking about Senior Assassins, which is a game in which people are following each other trying to find them. Kenzie, I have a question to you as a woman about what I can do differently in my life.
Great.
Because
I have
Put down the
couple
squirt gun.
suggestions off the bat.
Yeah.
Because you would probably agree that I walk at a brisk pace. I'm not the friendliest looking guy there's ever been. This all right?
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay. So I find myself in this scenario often in which I'm walking behind a woman who I'm not trying to abduct. And they feel me behind them, and they are immediately terrified, and they think that I am going to hurt them in some way. Spoiler, I'm not, just trying to get to the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
What can I do differently to scare women less?
Wow.
I think the problem is, and I've seen you do this, like you will you basically get to someone's neck before you scoot over. It's so weird because it's like listen, because I actually am a fast walker, but no one's threatened because I'm 5'2", and I'm obviously scooting and booting, and I'm usually skipping a little, so not very threatening. But you need to veer faster. So if you're in a hurry, scoot over. Like, why do you have to come up on somebody? It's almost like Case is driving a car when he's on the sidewalk. You know when like someone gets on your ass because they're pissed? That's what he does. He tails you. And it's like, okay, bro. And yeah, people think that you're going to like hurt them or that you're super, super aggressive. And it's like, I don't know why you don't, like, if you're going to be fast, you need to be like, you just scoot and like be aware of your own lane. Like, that's a problem with you. You get up on people's necks for some reason.
This is good. I know this. I'm not participating in any Senior Assassins game. I am not a senior anymore. If I was going to, I would get up on people's necks. But because I'm not participating in a high school game, I will attempt to avoid people's necks from now on.
It's weird.
I think you should start carrying a big squirt gun, one of those big squirt guns.
Wet t-shirt contest whenever I walk in the room?
And while you walk, and also check that on a text line, driving my kid to high school right now, he wondered why Senior Assassins game is on the radio. Then he proceeded to tell me all about it.
Yeah. I think it's at every school now. It's a big thing.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody texted and said that they are a teacher at Elgin High School, and they said that it's banned. Like you're expelled if you participate if they find out because kids have lost their lives. Somebody texted in that 2 kids in their graduating class got in a car accident playing.
Yeah, there's been accidents,
crazy.
and there's definitely those. Listen, everybody's on edge.
Mm-hmm.
Don't You don't need to push them just over that edge. We're right.
Dude, like play some flag football or something. Good Lord.
Flag football's fun.
Yeah.
I was a champion in the Chicago Sports Social Club.
Oh, boy. All right, you want to go through those accolades real quick? How many yards did you run
In
for,
the
Brian?
what social club?
The Chicago Sport and Social Club.
Okay.
When I first moved here to Chicago back in the day in those sludge days, it was a great way to meet ladies because they had happy hours afterwards. So you played volleyball, basketball.
You played flag football with women?
Yeah.
And then you were flaunting about your title?
Hey, I can only go who's on the field of play, who's I'm competing against. I can't help it that was what I had against me, and I scored 500 yards in one game.
Like, you should hear my basketball stats against the women, too. Undefeated, dunking.
I'm a women's rights guy. If you want to play against me, let's go.
That's
You
your
have the right
thing.
to.
That's my brand. Women's rights guy.
That's nice.
Speaking of sports, coming up to Third Eye Blind, what your Cubs are doing, incredible last night. We'll get to that in a second. Play some audio for you. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And every morning, I hope people wake up and try to say, hey, can I actually be better today? I would hope people try to have a better day or improve themselves somehow. And Kenzie's done this, and we don't know exactly what's going on, me and Case, but it's something called the 369 method. And a lot of people checking in. Again, get your minds out of the gutter text line.
Kenzie's like, I had this great thing that changed my life for the better.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it in front of everybody.
And, like, that's the one that, like, stop it.
All right,
Annoying.
so why don't you explain it to us? Because we don't know what it is. We told people not to Google. Thanks for being a part of the party here and just hanging out and not going to your phone to look it up. Because Kenzie will explain it right now what the 369 method is. Kenzie, the floor is yours.
The 369 theory is a manifestation method, okay? And Case already looks annoyed, which pisses me off. But I'm not going to let people like you bother me.
I am going to enter this segment with an open mind. Now, manifestation does not help. Already been a gobbledygook if you ask me, but I'm going to enter it with an open mind.
Well, that's not open. You just said it's gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Well.
But I mean, let's...
Wait, hold on. Okay. So
Yeah.
the 369, just real fast. Before we get into why everything's wrong and Case knows everything, before we break that down.
Go
so
ahead.
The 369 theory breaks down. So whatever you're manifesting, it can be as many things as you want, truly, right? But say you're focusing on, one thing, a few things, whatever. So 369, in the morning, you write that down 3 times. In the midday, you write it down 6 times. And at the end of the day, you write it down 9 times, each time putting like very intentional thought behind it, right? So say your goal was to get a raise. Let's do like a blanket one, right? So you would write like, I am going to get a raise. And then you write that 3 times, 6 times, 9 times throughout the day. And when you do write that, you spend a couple minutes on it and reinforce that with positive thought. Like, I'm going to get a raise because of how responsible I've been at work and my job's going to start trusting me and it's going to be a positive work environment. Like, you put a bunch of intentional thought behind those things. Now, before, you're like, what F-stick came up with this on TikTok? Because I can see it on Case's face because that's not what happened.
So who was the F-stick on TikTok that came up with this?
Nikola Tesla, like the super smart scientist that Thomas Edison ripped off.
I'm
So
sorry,
shut up.
what did Tesla do?
Nikola Tesla, he was like an engineer. He has a lot to do with why we have remotes and smartphones and a bunch of current technology that we currently possess because of all of his. Thomas Edison may or may not have ripped off a bunch of his inventions that's up in the air.
Well, Case,
But,
I'll give you some, Case, too. We wouldn't be on the radio if it wasn't for Nikola Tesla. Now, Guglielmo Marconi gets credit for inventing radio, but really a lot of the patents were Nikola Tesla's that created radio
True.
transmissions.
What time frame was Tesla alive during?
1800s.
Okay, because you said remotes, and I was like, did he invent the garage door opener? I'm confused on what's happening.
When she said
He
remotes,
invented technology that they used to create these things, like
when she said remotes, I thought of us going like to Chase Bank from 2 to 4 this Saturday to give away tickets for Twisted Christmas.
Now, before you think, hold on. Before you think that these numbers are random, Tesla believed them to be core numbers. 3, 6, and 9 he believed to be sacred numbers that really kind of hold spiritual and vibrational significance. Like they were kind of the center of the universe. Digital root numbers, because they're all from the root number 1 to 9, like things like that. So he believed that those specific numbers in the 369 method actually 3, 6, 9, but all three of those held very significant value into manifesting what you want in life.
Yeah, so the clear thing that she's saying here, too, on this, Kenzie, is Kenzie like, I want $1 million. I want $1 million. That's not going to work. It's You've got to write down, like you said, I deserve a raise, or I want a raise, and why, and write down some detailed thought process on it, and not just say I want $1 million and it's going to show up tomorrow. And that's not how it's going to work.
Right. It's intentional thought. It's also work. It's like you can't like lay on a couch and be like, I'm going to meet somebody and then never move. Like, you're obviously not going to meet somebody. You have to put like thought and actions into those manifestations. It's more about manifesting the energy and the opportunity, right? I don't think anybody can deny that if you put negative energy into something, you're probably going to have a negative outcome. And if you put positive energy into it, you can have a positive outcome, right?
Kind of like calling manifestation gobbledygook, as Case did a minute ago.
Right, so that's
negative energy.
I mean, if you walk around going, my job sucks, this place sucks, everything sucks, nothing good's going to happen, you're not all of a sudden going to have the best work day ever. It's just not, right? Like, that is just not going to be the best day.
Right.
So a lot of it is about the positive energy, the positive attention, and then you're putting yourself really open-minded to positive things gravitating towards you, and you've put yourself in the mindset that you can get those, which is really helpful.
I will share a story before we get in this. I want to hear somebody call up at 312-591-8300 that's properly done manifestation, maybe this, the 369 method, and it worked out. You got what you were manifesting, because we definitely make fun of manifesting a lot on this show. Everybody's, I'm manifesting this life on a beach and maybe, whatever. I want to hear.
I'm present.
Yes, I want to hear someone that had success with this. I will say I do know somebody that had success with this. At Q101 back in the day of my sludge days, we gave away a Jeep on my show one time, and 101 people got these keys. Get it? Q101, pretty clever. 101 keys, 101 contestants.
I see.
Nikola Tesla invented that. And then they all got up and turned the key in the Jeep, and if it started, you won the Jeep. And I remember we were about, 7 or 8 keys in, and this guy turned the Jeep, this big biker-looking dude, and he turned it and it started. And I went, oh, my God, and threw a microphone in front of him. You won. How do you feel? And he goes like, hey, man, I manifested this all week that I was going to turn the key and the Jeep was going to start and I was going to win the Jeep, man, and I did it. I manifested it.
Was the winner Brent Smith from Shinedown? That sounds just like him.
That's who it was. And then he went on the form Shinedown and had a nice long career after that. So I saw it happen in a way through somebody I kind of knew, one of our listeners there, winning it that way. But I'd love to hear, I want you to call and tell your story. And if no one calls, then we know manifestation doesn't work. That's how we know. That's how we know. Because no one calls and tells a story that it happened. 312-591-8300. Kenzie, what are you manifesting in these 369 method right now?
Well, I'm not going to tell you all of them because some of them are very personal.
It's like a birthday wish. You can't speak on it.
Well, they're personal. I'm going to tell you everything. Like,
so wait, when you manifest and blow out the candle, if you tell everybody, it's not going to come true.
3 candles and then 6 candles and then 9 candles.
I want an Xbox
I could
360.
tell you, I just won't. So, but I'm manifesting. I will tell you, I'm manifesting 4 things.
Okay.
And one of them has to do with my weight loss and staying committed to that because I have hit another wall. You guys stopped completely when the weight loss competition ended, but I did not. I've still been in a calorie deficit the whole time. I've still been working hard the whole time. So that's helping me stick towards that goal.
Okay, that's one of the things you're writing. That's one that you want to share.
Yes.
All right, I want people to call up 312-591-8300 and see. It doesn't have to be this method, the 369 method, but I want to know what you manifested and it worked out. And it could be anything. I don't care what it is. I just want to get the evidence and let's all get together and be better. Maybe it'll all work out. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a bunch of gobbledygook. Who knows? I don't know.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
We were talking about manifesting. It's a very popular word the last couple of years. Kenzie is using the 369 method to manifest good things in her life, which is you writing down what you want in a very, very descriptive way.
Yes. And not just like, fake stuff, like very intentional. Things that you're working towards are important. It's not a magic trick, as Keith said earlier. It's not like, well, I'm just going to sit here and not do anything, but all this stuff will happen. You can't do that.
Why do you have those cards in your hand?
Yeah.
Put that bunny away.
And for everybody texting in mad about it, like, this is BS. You can't manifest anything. That's, first off, never going to work for you with that attitude. Second, it's fine. Just don't do it. But everybody else is going to have a lot of great stuff that they wanted. So
For all the
have fun not doing it.
all the negative texts that are coming in, Kenzie's answering, well, not with that attitude.
Yeah, with the heart. Not good for the manifesting.
I imagine 3 times a day, Kenzie looks like Bart Simpson at the chalkboard in the Simpsons intro, and she's just writing line after line about like, I want a new car. I want a new car.
I will not paint the dog blue. I will not paint the dog blue. All right, so we have Kyla checking in. Ahoy, Kyla. Tell us if manifesting worked for you. What happened in your life?
Okay, so last year, my partner and I decided to try to go and purchase a house. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out because obviously we all know the market is kind of iffy in the past couple of years. It's been a little tough.
I feel you, sister.
Oh, my goodness. And we're, at that time we were 22, so we were just, trying our best, trying to adult. But nothing ended up working out, and we didn't end up liking anything in the market, so we just kept repeating, whatever's going to come, whatever is meant for us is going to come to us. Whatever is meant for us is going to come to us. And we let the pre-approval letter lapse or whatever. And then it just so happened a week or two after it lapsed, my partner's uncle actually texted us and was like, hey, I know this house down the street from us that's actually for rent. And it was so crazy because the owners let it sit for 2 years. And it just so happened they just put it up. They just cleaned it all out. It was just immaculate timing, and it was unbelievable. And they ended up charging us only $1,300 a month, and that's phenomenal. I'm sure you all know too in this market. And yeah, we are still there. We're still going strong, and hopefully they'll let us buy. We're doing rent to buy, which is phenomenal too. And it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 3-car garage in the back and a huge fenced-in yard.
Oh, good for you, Kyla. Good for
Brian
you.
is going to murder you now, but
I'm over here tearing my show plan sheet up. I'm so angry at Kyla right now.
anger, Brian, have you learned nothing with this entire conversation? Anger is not the way to approach it. You need to look at it. Not
Kyla, we've been looking for a condo or a house forever too. We get screwed out of it.
And not once have you manifested. Yeah. Look at the difference. Guess who manifested and guess who has a house?
Well, it's also just I don't know. I like having a positive mindset because it's like Kenzie's been kind of been saying, you can't go into this with negativity. You got to go into it being positive, or otherwise it's just going to end up being negative.
Why isn't this house cheaper? That's what I say in the car when we leave one every week.
You need to manifest that it will be. You can't yell.
Sorry. Kyla, thanks for checking in. I'm so happy for you that you found a place because it is tough out there.
No, you sound like it.
I'm so happy for Kyla. It's great that she found a nice place.
Brian, it could be you. 369. 369. You got this.
All right. Let's see. I got to go to somebody else. Tony, checking in. Tony, ahoy. Tell us your manifestation story.
Hi, ahoy guys. So, I grew up pretty rough upbringing as a kid and a teenager. Homeless for a little while, things that shouldn't happen as a kid, you shouldn't have to worry about. Kind of, made my own way, to the point where I had to pay my own way to finish high school and get myself into high school to, graduate and stuff like that. But
yep.
I remember, growing up and always wishing for a better life and hoping for a better life. And, I just kept reassuring and telling myself, if I work and do this and that, it'll happen. And I remember, as a young teenager or an older teenager right out of high school, I got into Local 597, pipe fitters out of Chicago.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, whoop, whoop. So started that, made my way in that, made a career out of it, did really well, and I'm still going strong. And so our training center is in Mokina, Illinois, where I'm from now. And I remember leaving there every day and driving down the street. And, it's some nicer neighborhoods. I always remember just telling myself, one day I'm going to buy a house here. I'm going to buy a house here. And, grew up, met my wife, my now wife,
wow.
2 beautiful children, stuff like that, manifested all that. And then, 3 or so years ago now, I purchased a house down the street from my training center where I told myself, going on 12 years ago now, that I would always buy a house. So, just kind of goes back to, that, like Kenzie said, manifest it and, and with a little bit of work, it'll happen for you. So it's possible for anybody.
What a great story. What a great story.
Thank you.
So all those people out there, not with that attitude, if you're a little
that's
negative.
Because literally,
That's the problem.
someone's like, no, he was just going to get the house. And you know what? You're manifestation not working, which just proves that it works. Boom.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. I grew up with nothing, and I'm not saying I'm a millionaire, and I don't have a Bugatti in the garage, but
Okay.
I've built a wonderful life for myself out of nothing. I've got a beautiful family, wonderful children, the whole thing, living the nice suburb life and whatnot. But
What are you driving, Tony? What are you driving?
so I've got a good old 2005 GMC Sierra
Love it.
is my truck. A little rusted out, but she runs, and the wife's got a nice. We have a nice family SUV for the family trips, and
two cars.
You got two
Yeah.
Two, yeah.
cars.
All right, I only got one.
Yeah.
We don't afford one right now. That's great. This is really making me feel good.
My wife grew up on the south side. She's very used to that. They were no cars for a while. They were all public transportation for a long time. So
That's what the
Quite
South
used
Side
to it.
does.
Well, now they got 2 cars, so they're doing pretty well.
Yeah, no,
Car
I
and
can.
a house.
stepping up in life,
All right, man. Listen, that's a great story, Tony. Well, these stories are making me feel so good about myself.
A house, 2 cars. I mean, what does Tony have that you don't?
A house and 2 cars.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and it's time for Head to Headlines. We've given you 2 headlines, the funniest of the week, and you voted on the text line at 312-591-8300. Which story you want to hear us break down? We'll never talk about the other story again. It's like it didn't exist. It won't be on Google or nothing. You can't find out what happened. So, headline number 1 was, and we'll get the results in a second, CEO accused of choking man and threatening to kill him on cruise ship over barefoot dancing incident. And headline number 2 was, deputies sees 7 tigers from home. Man claims they were his service animals. Now, this was really close because both stories sound fascinating. But headline number 1 won. I guess people just figured he said they were his service animals. There must have been an argument. And they turned out, no, we took the tigers. I don't know. We'll never know what happened in that story, but let's get to it. CEO accused of choking man and threatening to kill him on cruise ship over barefoot dancing incident. I urge you to stick around to the end of the story. Wait till you hear what his punishment was. So we'll get to that in a second. But first, the victim is alleged to have cursed at Kenneth DeGiorgio's wife after she asked him to put his shoes on. That's kind of the sub-byline of the story, but let's get into it right now and let see what happened here. So the CEO of a California-based financial services company, first off, we got to assume right there he's a multimillionaire.
Naturally.
Obviously.
Rich guy, stock options, probably has 2 cars and a house somewhere in Indiana, probably.
I bet he manifested that life.
I'm sure he did. He faces federal assault charges of choking a man on a Virgin Voyages cruise ship. I've never been on a cruise ship, but I guess a lot of people feel cramped in. You can't leave. Maybe if you have anger issues, you can't just walk away, right? The ocean's there. It's pretty big.
Tough place to be.
Yeah. You've been on a cruise, right, Kenzie, or no?
No, I'm terrified.
Oh. Of
I
this guy?
wanna
Of this
go
guy?
What?
You like to take your shoes off. You were afraid that it would lead to an incident on international
Well,
waters.
I'm just scared that I'm going to get really. My husband has tried to assure me that when you're on a cruise, it doesn't feel cagey. They're very big. But I'm scared I'm going to feel very stuck on the boat and I'm in the middle of the ocean.
Like this guy. That's
Yeah.
probably how he felt. A minor incident certainly blew up way beyond what it should have. And the incident happened Monday in international waters on the Resilient Lady cruise ship, according to a federal criminal complaint. So authorities allege that Kenneth DeGiorgio's legal team, or Kenneth DeGiorgio himself, the CEO of the First American Financial Corporation, choked a male victim following an incident that involved his wife, Nicole DeGiorgio. So a spokesman, they have a legal team. They have team money, legal team money.
Imagine that.
Oh, that's great.
That's at least 3 cars.
That's 3 cars. It's a couple homes. I'm sure he worked hard in his life to get all this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, I'm sure they manifested all of it.
To make 78,000% more than the average employee of his company. Okay, so Mr. DeGiorgio responded to the actions of an individual who was harassing his wife, making her feel threatened and intimidated. Oh, maybe it's self-defense here. I might side with the guy. The complaint alleges that the victim, identified by the initials MA, was dancing barefoot on the dance floor on the ship's On the Rocks bar. The bar was called On the Rocks.
That's cute.
That's adorable. Also, dancing barefoot on a dance floor. Again, I've never been on a cruise ship either. Is that the norm? Are people
That sounds nasty, though. I wouldn't want my bare feet. There's a lot of people.
And that's what his wife said. His wife said, "Put your shoes on. We're all grown-ups here."
That's a direct quote?
That's a direct quote from his wife to the man, the victim. And the victim responded by cursing at her and sticking his middle finger up in the air at her. I want you to picture a drunk guy dancing with his shoes off, barefoot, and probably wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Of course.
I'm guessing receding hairline.
Cargo khaki shorts.
Yeah. And flipping off this woman who said, "Put your shoes on. We're all grown-ups here." He's like, "I ain't no grown-up."
Was he Kid Rock?
Vacation on. He doesn't care.
Now, there was security video showing DiGiorgio standing up, walking over to the victim, and choking him. That's a great first response.
So
he ain't playing.
No, so the husband of the wife that got flipped off choked the guy that flipped off his wife?
Yeah, so she says, "Put your shoes on, we're all grown-ups." He flips off and curses at the guy's wife. The CEO stands up and starts choking him. That's the order of events.
Was it Will Smith?
Right? Exactly. I mean, there was no build-up to saying, "Hey, that's rude," or he just started choking him. That's why all the talk? Let's just get right to action.
Yeah, well, this guy seems a little bit annoying, in fairness.
Which guy?
The guy with his shoes off.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to smell it. You get asked to put your shoes back on. You flip people off. You seem annoying.
I got to admit, I'm kind of siding with the CEO right now.
I am too.
Are we all on the same team?
We are.
It says the victim stumbled while under physical control of DiGiorgio. Sounds like a pretty strong guy. Like he works
This
out.
guy sounds wasted.
Yeah, either that guy is totally wasted or the CEO does curls. Not sure yet. The victim also said that DiGiorgio, quote, used a lot of force, and it felt like his throat was going to be ripped out. That's a direct quote.
That's descriptive.
This guy's tough.
He's a wordsmith.
You think he's being dramatic?
My throat was going to get ripped out. What, Indiana Jones? No, it wasn't. Relax.
The man alleged that during the incident, DiGiorgio said, "I'm going to effing kill you." Really escalated quick.
Everybody says that. They don't mean it. Like, I'm going to kill you. Like,
Yeah,
stop.
But
stop.
to be fair, he was choking him at the time he said it.
Yeah. Well, don't do that.
DiGiorgio, here's the punishment that he got. He was ordered confined to his room until the ship arrived in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Then you got to go to Puerto Rico.
What is he? But what is he, a 10-year-old? Go to your room and sit there and think about
And
what
what
you
about the guy
did.
with his shoes off? He should have been in his room, too. Both of you in your corners.
It doesn't say what happened to him. Nothing happened to him, apparently, at this point.
His throat got ripped out. I'm like, whoops. Guess it was.
DiGiorgio's wife told authorities that she should not have told the man to put his shoes on and that he never touched her. Why is she apologizing?
I wouldn't have apologized.
Well, that's clear.
I'm just saying. She shouldn't have said, put your shoes on. Nasty. Put your shoes on. You're in public.
You would have choked the guy before the husband did.
Yeah.
You would have got up there and did that.
I
So,
would have probably thrown something of his over the boat.
yeah, I'm really
I was like,
disappointed.
hopefully he would go get it.
I'm disappointed in the wife. She didn't have to apologize. She just said, put
I
your
know.
shoes on.
And also, is it Will Smith? Because now it sounds like you're not going to support your man. Now you're
Yeah.
going to apologize for what you said. I'd be like, I was right. He was right. Like, at least support him. Damn.
Yeah.
Make him feel good.
The legal team representing DiGiorgio, that's the CEO, the choker, he's been the company's CEO since February 2022. And he says, "I look forward to being absolved of all any wrongdoing."
Could you imagine, Brian, because I imagine you have this fantasy as well, where a guy does something to your wife, you stand up for your wife, you choke this guy out, and then she gets mad at you for it? God, that'd be the worst.
This is what happened to Will Smith.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.